Welcome to this OPUS Link Lab Solution Development for Poet training session. First, I'm going to give an introduction to OPUS Solution Environment for Poet. Then we'll take a look at base objects, then the expansion object model, solution components, the design flow, and then finally, I'll show some demos. Many organizations depend on both internal teams and external partners to complete daily work. When teams don't share information in a clear and structured way, work becomes delayed and inconsistent. Poet helps teams work better together across companies. Organizations often face common problems. They struggle with on-time delivery because order updates and production status are not aligned. Teams use emails or spreadsheets to track tasks, changes, and issues. This manual tracking increases cycle time and creates confusion. It also makes it hard to see patterns or measure performance over time. Poet improves this situation by connecting people and processes in one system. It links internal teams such as planning, procurement, quality, manufacturing, logistics, and supplier management. It also connects external partners across supply chain, quality, customer service, and manufacturing. Instead of using disconnected tools, teams work in shared workflows. They manage compliance events, inspections, audits, onboarding, recalls, artwork processes, and partner data in one digital environment. Everyone sees the same information and follows the same process. Poet makes this possible. It allows companies to share data across organizational boundaries. It supports collaboration through shared tasks, issue tracking, change requests, and document review. As a result, teams gain clear visibility into partner activities and responsibilities. They improve accountability. They improve on time and full performance, fill rates, and cost control. They spend less time reacting to problems and more time managing work in a structured and predictable way. This understanding helps us see how the OPUS solution environment supports Poet in a practical and usable way. Now let's take a look at base objects. Poet utilizes a flexible and scalable object model to support various cross-enterprise processes. At the core of Poet are three base objects: work item, and list. Item helps you manage collaborative processes within a single enterprise. Work item is used when work needs to be coordinated across multiple companies or partner networks and includes an expected due date. List acts as a container that organizes related objects. It allows us to group and manage collections of work items or other records in a structured way. These base objects are the building blocks of the solution, providing structure, consistency, and reusability across different use cases. Instead of developing separate systems for each business process, OPUS configures and extends these foundational objects to accommodate various operational scenarios. This approach enhances efficiency and scalability across the enterprise network. Now let's take a look at the expansion object model. From these base objects that we just introduced, we configure and extend subtypes of these core objects to represent specific business processes. These include compliance exception, inspection and audit, task and subtasks, partner onboarding, quality review, e-logbook, drug recall, etc. Each of these business processes uses the same base object structure in the system. For example, a compliance exception uses work items to drive tasks, documents to store evidence, and lists to manage structured data. A drug recall uses the same core components but applies them in a different business context. This approach ensures consistency while allowing flexibility. This expansion model delivers two major advantages. First, it accelerates solution deployment because we configure rather than build from scratch. Second, it ensures scalability because new use cases extend from the same object foundation. As we move forward, keep this model in mind. Every capability we discuss in OPUS builds on this structured yet flexible object foundation. Now on to solution components. Once we choose the right business object from the base object model, we build the complete solution using 5 main components. First, we define the data model. We decide which fields the process needs. We define which information users must enter, how we organize it, and where it appears on the page. Clear field setup helps users enter data correctly and supports accurate reporting later. Next, we configure the workflow. We define how the record moves from one stage to another. We decide the statuses, approvals, and transitions. A clear workflow helps teams understand what to do next and keeps the process moving in a controlled way. Then, we define stakeholders and roles. We identify who will use the object and what each person can do. Some users may create records, others may review or approve them. Clear role setup protects data and supports smooth teamwork between internal users and external partners. After that, we configure reports and dashboards. We use the captured data to track key numbers and process status. Teams can monitor performance, review open items, and see trends over time. Finally, we design partner-specific dashboards. We adjust what each partner can see based on their responsibilities. This setup gives partners the information they need while keeping access controlled. Together, these components turn a simple object into a working business solution. They help teams follow a clear process, track results, and scale the solution as needs grow. This view shows how the object model and solution components work together in one design. It explains how we turn basic system objects into real business processes inside OPUS. Poet uses a small set of base objects. We then extend these base objects into subtypes to support specific business needs. These subtypes become the business objects that teams use every day. On the left, you can see 3 base objects. On the right, you see examples of business objects created from them. We configure these to support processes such as incident management, checklists, quality reviews, tasks and subtasks, master data, and artwork management. These business objects always connect back to the base objects. They follow the same structure and rules. The connection keeps the system consistent and easier to manage. At the same time, we can adjust each business object to match different process needs. This approach keeps the design simple and flexible. We use the same foundation for many different processes. We do not build a new system each time. We configure what already exists, which saves time and keeps the solution easier to maintain. In the OPUS Solution Environment, we start by clearly defining the process and explaining why it matters. In this example, the application manages supply chain incidents. It sets a standard way for teams to record incident details and follow the same workflow every time. Instead of using emails or spreadsheets to track issues, teams use one structured system. The system captures data in a consistent format and displays it through workflows and dashboards. This structure improves visibility right away. Teams can see what happened, where it happened, who is responsible, and what the current status is. Clear visibility reduces confusion and helps everyone stay accountable. The process also improves teamwork. Internal teams and supply chain partners work in the same system. They share updates, attach documents, and track corrective actions in one place. This setup removes silos and helps teams make decisions faster. With better structure and visibility, teams reduce the time needed to resolve incidents. They identify problems sooner, assign clear ownership, and complete corrective actions more efficiently. Because the system captures data in a standard way, leaders can review trends and measure supplier performance. They use real data to support improvement efforts and make better sourcing decisions. We now translate process design into a tangible business object inside OPUS. When we define a process, we implement it as a structured business object with clearly configured components. Every business object includes key elements that shape the user experience and control execution. We begin with menus. Menus determine how users access the business object within the application. They provide structured navigation and ensure that the right users reach the right functionality quickly and intuitively. Next, we define roles. Roles control who can create, view, edit, approve, or manage records. Clear role configuration strengthens governance, protects data integrity, and ensures accountability across internal teams and external partners. Within the business object, we configure pages that support user interaction. These typically include search, new, and view or edit pages. The search page allows users to quickly locate records based on defined criteria. Strong search capability increases efficiency and improves visibility across active and historical records. The new or create page enables users to initiate a process instance. Here we capture structured data that aligns with the defined data model. The view or edit page supports collaboration and ongoing execution. Users update information, attach documents, track progress, and complete assigned actions within a controlled framework. Two foundational elements power these pages. Fields define what data we capture and how we structure it. Workflows define how the record progresses. Together, menus, roles, pages, fields, and workflows transform a conceptual process into a fully operational business object. This structured configuration ensures that POET delivers consistent, governed, and scalable process orchestration across the enterprise network. Now onto the design flow. We begin with a business object. At this stage, we define the overall process. We clarify what the process manages and what problem it solves. For example, we may define an incident management process that governs how teams capture, track, and resolve supply chain incidents. Next, we define the data model. Identify the fields required to support the solution. Determine what information users must capture, such as incident ID, incident title, due date, severity, or supplier name. A well-defined data model ensures structured data capture and supports reporting and analytics later. Then we move to the design pages. Here we configure the user interface. Drag and drop fields onto create and edit pages. Organize the layout so users can easily enter and review information. A clear and intuitive page design improves user adoption and execution efficiency. After designing pages, define the workflow. We establish how the record progresses from one status to another. For example, the process may move from draft to do to in progress to done. We configure approvals, tasks, assignments, and decision points to ensure controlled execution and accountability. Next, add roles and permissions. Define which roles interact with the solution and what level of access each role has. Some users may have view-only access, while others can create or edit records. A clear role definition protects data integrity and ensures proper governance. Finally, we configure reports and dashboards. Define the metrics that matter. For example, we may track the number of incidents by supplier, resolution time, or open versus closed cases. Reports transform structured process data into actionable insights that support operational and strategic decisions. This end-to-end configuration flow ensures that every solution we build in POET remains structured, measurable, and aligned to business outcomes. Now I'm going to give some demos to show how all of this works in action. First, I'm going to show you how to log onto the platform, how to navigate to OPUS Solution Environment, how to access the company's solution, and then how to open a solution details page. To log on to OPUS, go to opus.tracelink.com. To navigate to the OPUS Solution Environment, go to the main menu and select OPUS Solution Environment here. To access the company solutions, go to Available and Company Solutions. Here you can apply a filter. Enter the application name. For this example, Process Orchestration for Empowered Teams, and then apply. To open the solution details page, select the hyperlink, and here you'll find the details. I'm now going to show you how to configure a page within POET, first using the drag and drop feature, and then using the Configure UI Properties feature. Go to Solution, and select New Pages. We'll select the New Work Item page from the New Page section. Select Edit to make changes. And perhaps we want to add additional columns to the search table. So we select the General Table section Then select Drag and Drop field. Here we can add additional columns. Drag it and drop it. And lastly, let's add comments. Now I'm going to show you how to use the Configure UI Properties feature. Perhaps we want to change the title New Work Item to New Medavonic Page Details. Select the title and Configure UI Properties. And here you can change the text. Be sure to select Apply and then save your changes. Let's wrap up with the key takeaways from today's session. First, POET is designed to enable true multi-enterprise process orchestration. It allows teams to standardize processes, automate workflows, and collaborate seamlessly with internal stakeholders and trading partners. Second, everything in POET starts with the base objects, work items, and lists. These are the foundational building blocks. Once you understand these, you can design any solution. Third, we followed a structured design flow. We start with defining the business object and overall process. Then we design the data model, configure pages, define the workflow, assign roles and permissions, and finally build reports and dashboards. Fourth, solution design should always be outcome-driven. Whether it's incident management or another use case, the goal is to improve visibility, enhance collaboration, accelerate resolution times, and enable data-driven decision-making. And finally, we took a look at how to navigate the OPUS environment by configuring pages. From here, the key is practice. Start simple, build iteratively, and focus on outcomes. That's how empowered teams fully leverage POET. Thank you for your time today watching this training session. If you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to email tracinguniversity@tracing.com.